We're live. Good evening, viewers, and welcome to Big Girl and Friends. My name is Christopher Wilson, also known as Big Girl. I'm imagining that we have a lot of new viewers tonight that are connected to our wonderful guest and the Greene Jewish Theater. So in case you're wondering, just very, very quickly, as I said, my name is Christopher Wilson. In case you're wondering about the origins of Big Girl, when I was a younger gentleman, about 20 years of age, I had the good fortune of performing at the Stratford Festival. And as you'll get to know throughout the hour, I'm a bit of an energizer bunny and a gregarious character. And I was a bit of a overzealous St. Bernard puppy in the rehearsal hall when I was 20 years old, and had one particular day in the rehearsal hall of being very, very silly. And one of my dear friends and a respected actor, the likes of a gentleman named Mr. Lee McDougall, who is one of Canada's foremost actors, director, writer. He also was in the original company of Come From Away. He got exasperated in the moment and said, you're behaving like such a big girl. Because I was just being silly and over the top. And anyway, Big Girl became a term of endearment that I've had as a nickname in the professional theater industry for the better part of 30 years. So henceforth, Big Girl and Friends. We are delighted to have you on the final show of our 5th week. We have been doing this for 5 weeks now, and this has been an ongoing fundraiser for a very important organization called the Actors Fund of Canada, which is accessible on your extra browser through afchelps.ca. The Actors Fund of Canada is an organization that supports the performing arts industry, whether you're an actor on stage or a grip behind the scenes on a film industry. Well, we are all in this state of social isolation. I said that yesterday. It's a good tongue twister. Social isolation. While we're in the state of social distancing and self-isolation, we are, of course, not able to do what we love best. We're not able to bring theater to you live and personal in the theater spaces that we love so much. So we're bringing new initiatives online, such as Big Girl and Friends. And this is a fundraising initiative for this organization that supports the artistic community from coast to coast, from British Columbia all the way to Newfoundland, while we are remaining vulnerable financially and unable to do what we love to do for you folks. So if anyone during this broadcast is in a position to support the AFC or the Actors Fund of Canada, please just go on a separate browser to afchelps.ca, click on Donate Now, and we would welcome your donation, whether it's $5 or $1,000. Every generous donation helps. Up until now, prior to this show, I believe we've reached $17,000 in our 5 weeks. So we're hoping we can top that up. Maybe we can get to 20,000 by the end of this show. So welcome, welcome, welcome on this beautiful Saturday, April 25th in Toronto. I'm going to welcome to the stream my special co-host for the evening, a wonderful performer. She recently starred as Audrey in the production of Little Shop of Horrors at the Stratford Festival. She has been seen in several productions, both main stage and fundraising initiatives with the Greene Theater. We are tickled pink. Get that? Everything's pink. Tickled pink to have her. Welcoming to the stream my delightful dear friend, the wonderful, the incomparable Miss Gabby Epstein. Hi, Gabby.
Hi. I'm so happy to be back on Big Girl and Friends.
Yes, Gabby, you were with us 5 weeks. Can you believe it? You were our second guest with your beautiful hubby, Mr. Jeremy LaPepstein. Is he there? Is he allowed to Jeremy, come say hello to the viewers.
Hello, Jer.
Am I here? Where am I going?
Hello, Jeremy. Look at that gorgeous COVID. Well, Jeremy, sit down for a sec. Have a chat with us. Because I wanted to. So, ladies and gentlemen who are watching, I've sometimes had a couple themes during the show, and I've called them the COVID connections, which are the connections that we make in our day-to-day life in these unique circumstances. They might be on a walk in the park, they might be at the grocery store. But Jeremy and Gabby, if I'm not incorrect, based on some Facebook things you were sharing, there's some beautiful neighborhood food being exchanged. Tell us about your COVID connection in your neighborhood.
Oh, well, this is a shout out to my friend and a sort of new friend and castmate Derek Kwan. wonderful, wonderful actor, singer who lives around the corner from us. Yeah. And we were chatting yesterday, and I was just admiring all of his food posts that he's been doing, because he's been cooking up a fiend, and he has beautiful Asian flavors in his cooking. So I've just been gawking at his posts, and we were chatting about that. And then he sent me a message later that day just saying, "What's your address? I've got a treat." And he, on his daily walk, decided to bake a chocolate cake and drop it off at our doorstep.
It looked. Oh, I heard props being assembled in the back. Are you?
That's
Jeremy, that's just not fair to the viewers. There's 250 viewers watching us right now, which means that there are 250 people salivating. Actually, they're salivating because they're excited to have Mr. Avery Saltzman come to the stream. But no, they're salivating because. So there was a food exchange, like it was delivered to your porch.
He was baking and thought we would enjoy some chocolate cake, and it's certainly a nice way to end our week, if people keep track of weekdays and weekends anymore.
That's right. Well, also, it's funny. I mean, obviously with Easter, but because I'm feeling like I should have my honorary kippah. I'm not of the Jewish faith, but being surrounded by so many vibrant, talented souls, and Jeremy has married into the Jewish faith. For those who don't, this is Jeremy Lapalm and Gabby Epstein, and they have newly branded their family as
Team LaPepstein.
There we go, Team LaPepstein. So we're delighted. But I was going to share, obviously, celebrations when, I sort of marked that sort of Friday the 13th was the beginning of the shifting, for all of us. But that was just coming on to Easter for me, and of course Passover for your Jewish community. But also your mother prepared a beautiful Passover meal that was shared.
She dropped off some matzah. She dropped off some charoset. Mm-hmm. She dropped off some chopped herring. She dropped off some matzo ball soup.
Jeremy is still. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be. This first part of the episode is all about salivating because of all these gorgeous foods. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Food has become, like, it's always been important, but it's become that extra, so much more so important as a way to connect and
absolutely.
Like together with we can. Yeah.
Well, we talk about the COVID beard, and I have to be mindful of my COVID waistline. I've been trying to do a little bit of fitness, but I was just going to share, that obviously everything has, we've had to move to a virtual reality, and it's been very inspiring that things, very important things. For example, just this past Monday, your dear brother Jake Epstein was the host of the Cross Canada Virtual Holocaust Remembrance Day commemoration. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure, of course, that was in the planning of that event. It was supposed to be a much larger, up close and personal. But I had the privilege of watching this beautiful program online, and I was so pleased. How was that? How was that experience for your brother? Did you talk about that?
Yeah, well, he filmed all of that stuff before, and so what Jake will speak to this better than me, but they said
Nora wanted some of that cake, Jeremy.
Okay. The organization sent him a script, and then because Jake is Jake and is just such a personable, lovely guy, if I do say so myself, my younger bro, he sort of brought some of his own personal experience through, connecting my mother, who obviously writes historical fiction, Holocaust education chapter books.
Your mother, Kathy Kaser.
Okay, so shout out, Mama. I think she's watching tonight. Her and Inky Epstein are watching tonight. And so he, I think, really enjoyed watching the whole thing once it was all completed, just to see sort of what he could contribute to that. And I'm so glad that it was still able to go on. There were some Liberation 75 events that were supposed to go on. I was supposed to be involved in a concert associated with Temple Sinai as well, that was canceled. And so I'm just so glad that this a Holocaust remembrance event still was able to go on digitally.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, Jeremy, we're happy to see you, handsome. I might, as I bring our beautiful guest on, the screen might get smaller, so you might get smushed. So maybe we'll see you at the end of the program. You can come back and say hello. And yes, hello to you too, dear mommy, Kathy Kaser. And we congratulate you on all the beautiful literature you've created, honoring Jewish stories, and the awards you have been the recipient of are of course, very deserved. So we love you. Hello. So we are thrilled, both Gabby and I, to welcome a lovely, lovely guest. This gentleman and I met way back, and we'll talk about that, in 1998, when I first moved to Toronto to do the opera school at the University of Toronto. I was cast in the ensemble of a beautiful production, the Stratford remount of a very legendary production created by the likes of the late Brian MacDonald, and Susan Benson was the designer. And it was a production of The Mikado, in which this fabulous talent played the role of Coco with the late Richard McMillan. He is now the co-artistic director, as many of the viewers know, of the wonderful Harold Greene Jewish Theatre. And we have so many things to talk about and music to share. Please welcome to the stream. Put your virtual hands together for the wonderful, the talented, and the charming Mr. Avery Saltzman. Avery!
Hey! Hi, Gab.
Yeah. Gabby, I'm going to pull you out and put you right back in so I can try to put Avery in the middle. Shazam!
I'm so glad I'm doing this show because, Chris, I didn't know that was your name before tonight. I just thought it was Big Girl. I didn't even know your real name. Hi, Gab. How you doing? Hi, Kathy Kaser. Hi, Inky. Hi, G.
Well, there's so many.
Hi, all subscribers and donors and sponsors of the Harold Greene Jewish Theatre Company. Hi, Matt. Hi, David. Okay, ready to go.
Yes, there's so many beautiful people here. Some family here.
Yeah. Hi, Jared, my nephew.
Oh, isn't
that family?
Lovely?
And the Epstein family. They're my Jake and Gab are my adopted. They call me Uncle Abe, which I love.
Oh,
Uncle Abe.
Gab's done so much with our company. I mean, she was nominated for a Dora for To Life, and then Stars of David she did, and she played. We did a fundraiser, A Funny Girl, with a 27-piece orchestra. Remember, Gabby, how beautiful that was? All the original orchestration.
I remember. Avery.
Hello. She was brilliant.
Like the best night of my life, Avery.
It was fantastic. So we the whole family's to the heart. It's great.
Oh, this is fabulous.
I'm so happy to see your face.
You too.
Well, what's so exciting for us, Avery, with Big Girl and Friends is that, we get to explore, I said this, I think, to Tracy, our guest last night, Michaelides, that, for me to have this beautiful hour of unbiased one-on-one time or two-on-one time, as it were, it's just been such a joy because I've been able to sort of dig into some beautiful histories and journeys. So, as I'd like to do, Avery, let's start at the very beginning, a very good place to start.
Not really.
Well, I am curious.
Don't ruin it.
I mean, there's so many things to talk, but bring us back. Where are you from? Where's home for you? Where did you grow up?
Toronto.
Okay.
Born in the suburbs. Grew up in the Bathurst Manor, which was a suburb in Finch, Wilmington area, where I went to junior high and public school and high school with the same kids, and grew up there. Didn't get downtown till I was 17, 18 years old. So the suburbs was everything.
You were raised in the public school system as opposed to a Jewish school?
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad, my mom was religious. My dad had no belief system. And so just public school, raised Jewish because of way of life and just a sense of family and we were talking earlier, food and stuff. So that's how we were raised, to be good leaders in the community. And someone once said that faith means family all in the home. So you have a good base of family, that's where your faith extends to.
Oh, that's a beautiful analogy. Thank you for that.
You are.
So, I've always been curious about how people get into this biz of show. What was your entry point or the influences, be it family members or how did you catch the theater bug, Avery Saltzman?
Well, I think I just always loved it. I went to theater camp and my father was born in New York, in Harlem, when Harlem was, all mostly Jews. And my grandmother, when they emigrated to New York City, and she was an amateur actress in Yiddish theater.
Wow.
And so when I was a kid, and she used to come to visit from Florida, and then she lived down the street from us, my aunt and uncles, I used to play her piano all the time and stuff. And it was just a natural progression. I think from day one, I just always wanted to be a performer. Always wanted to be an actor, and boy, blessed to live a life that you have a dream about and let that drive you. So this year, I think I'm in the business 42 years.
Wow.
Crazy.
Amazing. Amazing.
What do you have a specific memory of something that you saw as a young person that really? It's funny. We've been talking. We've had AJ Bridell and Tracy both perform the role of Anne in Anne of Green Gables,
Right.
and of course they were talking about one of their first entry points, as a lot of young girls is listening to Annie. And I was just thinking how interesting it is that Annie, with Daddy Warbucks, is a redheaded orphan, and of course
Right.
Anne of Green Gables is a redheaded orphan.
Right.
But I don't know if it was Annie that inspired you as well, but was there something that you saw as a child that
I had a red afro for many years.
Did you?
Yeah, no, I don't remember an actual thing. I just loved listening to, musical theater and sing out loud with them and just entertain and just loved it as a kid. And it was just a natural progression. I don't really remember. Well, there was one seminal moment, and that will lead. I'll tell you about that when I lead into my first song, because that will all tie in. But I just always wanted to be a performer, and my folks were always supportive.
That's amazing. So did you get formal training in theater, or did you sort of you started in the biz?
Well, my parents wanted me to go to university, so I was having myself something to fall back on. So I went to York University because they had it was part of university.
Yeah.
Hey, Dennis, my cousin. So I went to York, and I dropped out after third year because at that time Sean Stratford came around to all the universities to audition people. And I was going to go to Shaw between third and fourth year university. And I went to Shaw, and I never went back to school.
You talented, lucky man. I love it.
Lucky man. But you know yourselves, guys, maybe you don't, but when I started in '78, the theater scene was so much different.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go from job to job to job, and I don't think I had an audition for the first 2 years because you just met people through your experiences, and off you went.
And you might not have even been represented back then, eh? In terms of an agent?
I think I was with Bruce Dean.
At the beginning?
Yeah.
But I tell you,
at some point.
But I tell you what, I remember my parents came down to see me at Shaw, and I had to tell them that night that I wasn't going back to university.
Cool.
So I remember standing on the corner of one of the streets of the festival, and I told them that I'm not going back to school, but I'm continuing. This is what I'm going to do with my life. Well, basically, all the color drained from their face. Realized, okay, their son is entering into a world that they really knew nothing really about. And acting, all they knew was that actors, if you're not in the movies, what do actors really do? So,
of course,
all in that moment, but I proved them wrong. So.
With that love, though, with that love and support and upbringing, theater and music upbringing, I feel like there's always, there's an inherent acceptance that will always sort of.
And they were always theater goers. They took me to the Alex. They took me all these places. They loved it too. And there was always music in our home. The Weavers and Harry Belafonte and Al Jolson and those type of performers. So I grew up with that type of stuff and loved it. Just loved it.
Niagara-on-the-Lake was my second home growing up because that's my mother's birthplace.
Right.
What season were you there first? Do you remember?
It was 1978. In fact, it was the first musical ever at Shaw. It was called Lady Audley's Secret. It was a melodrama with Marie Barron, Angie Fusco, myself, Beth Ann Cole, and I was an ensemble in that, but it was only about a cast of 10. It was in the Courthouse Theater, first musical. It was the first year the courthouse was air conditioned, so it basically said Shaw Festival, air conditioning, Lady Audley's Secret. First musical at Shaw. The artistic director was Richard Bradshaw.
Right, that's what I was going to ask you who the AD was back then. Yeah. Wow, that's an exciting time.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious, I mean, what was the first piece of theater that might have been Jewish conscious or Jewish specific in your journey as a performer, where you sort of connected your heritage to your theater practice? He's like, I don't remember.
I don't know.
When you worked in New York, was that did that sort of help or feel?
Well, when I worked in New York, and every time that David Eisner, my co-artistic director, my brother from another mother, when we go down to New York, I feel I'm walking in my parents' footsteps and my grandparents' footsteps, because my mom visited my dad a lot. She worked in the sewing district. My dad was in the American Army, lived in New York. My grandmother, so every time I'm there, I feel like I'm following in their footsteps. And it was, that's where I feel it. And then when I went to Israel with David for an exposure of Israeli theater, I felt a spiritual connection. And I don't think I'm more of a spiritual guy than a religious guy.
Sure.
But I felt have you been there, Gabby? Israel?
Yeah.
There's an inherent something that you wear as a sweater that just connects with you, that it's an unknown feeling. And I really felt connected to my culture and to my faith there, which I didn't think I would. So that was quite extraordinary. Because
you said did I hear you correctly? Your father was born in the States, you said?
In New York, yeah. So I have dual citizenship, so that's why I was able to work.
So what was your first adventure? So you began your career in Canada. You were at the Shaw, and
going back to Annie. Annie was the first Broadway show I saw with Dorothy Loudon and Andrea McCarter. So there's your tie-in. Now I remember. There's your tie-in to Annie.
There it is. It always goes back to Annie.
It always goes back to the sun will come out tomorrow.
It's true. You'd be a lovely Daddy Warbucks. You've got the hairline for it. Is that appropriate to say?
No, really? No, of course it is. Yeah.
It comes back to me as well, because that's where I saw Bernadette Peters for the first time. Was in the movie version of Annie.
Yes,
when I was a very young kid, I saw Annie, and I saw this, woman with curly hair. And then, a few years later, when I was discovering musical theater, I went, "Oh my God, that's Bernadette Peters."
6 Degrees of Annie.
6 Degrees of Annie.
Did you do a production of Fiddler on the Roof in high school?
Did I do a production of Fiddler on the Roof at high school? Who are you kidding? It was in the suburbs at a Jewish high school. Of course they do Fiddler.
And what grade were you in, and what role did you play?
Well, I played Tevye, of course. I was grade 13. I had, the fake beard stuck on, and of course white grease paint on my temples to make it look old. And all I really looked like was an 18-year-old with a stuck-on beard and white grease paint. But that was a seminal moment for me, because I remember to this day that I sang Rich Man, and I'm in a spotlight, and I can't remember, I must have, because if the school play was in May or June, I had to know I was going to York. I think I already did. But I was standing in that spotlight, and the applause was coming to me, and I distinctly remember saying, "This is it. This is my life." I knew it. I knew it at that moment, that moment was going to carry me on. It was phenomenal, and I still feel that now. And I did a cabaret. Remember, Gabby, a couple of years ago, we had a cabaret series, and Jarvis did a cabaret, an hour-and-a-half cabaret. Gabby did, and I did too. So I put a bunch of songs together, and that was the first time in about 40 years that I'd sang "If I Were a Rich Man." So tonight, if this is a segue, Chris, I am going to. 1 second.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for this.
Keep talking. I got to press in my thing. Keep talking.
Fiddler's very important in our household, because that's how Jeremy Lepepstein and I met, was doing Fiddler on the Roof as well. So that show just, I feel like everybody who does it just experiences love when they do that show. There's just so much heart and love that, whether you're Jewish or not, there's just something so beautiful and rich about it that you just connect.
Well, it's the most popular show in Japan, because they thought it was written for them, because it's all about family and faith, family all in the home. So without further ado, is this a good segue?
Well, actually, there's two things I want to share, because so you were talking about your brother from another mother.
Yes.
So you were talking about how you were a spiritual person more than religious, but
yes,
your brother would like to claim that he brought you into the faith.
I love you, David. He did.
And just out of curiosity, was there a New York story to a very specific person that we were discussing before the stream that was connected to this song?
I auditioned for so much in New York. I mean, I auditioned. I mean, I did Pajama Game in Lincoln Center, and I took over from Artie Johnson and Candide and stuff, and I did a lot of auditions, and I did a show called The Witch at the American Jewish Rep, which is half Yiddish.
That's what David was referencing here?
Oh, it's The Witch in Yiddish. And but I auditioned once for Harvey Fierstein. It was a musical called Legs Diamond that he wrote with Peter Allen. And I went for my callback, and I did my scene, and Harvey Fierstein says to me, he says, "Okay, can you do that again, only maybe this time be funny?" So needless to say, I went into a flop sweat, And it's very tough to be funny when you're sweating from every orifice. So needless to say, I didn't get the job. But that show closed the Mark Hellinger Theater, which is now a big church on 52nd Street. Right. So, yeah, so that was a great Harvey Firestein story.
That's a great Harvey story.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, we are excited to hear the song. Our beautiful viewers, there's so many of you tonight. You've brought so many people. A reminder, if you are able to support and generously donate to the AFC, the Actors Fund of Canada, just click on afchelps.ca and donate now. We'd appreciate your support.
Yeah.
Avery, if I were a rich man.
You got it.
And hopefully the rich.
Well, rich will pay up.
There you go. Enjoy, Avery. We're going to give you the stream, my love. Enjoy your song.
Thank you. Okay. Kevin?
Do you need some stalling while you do some technical things here?
Yeah, I don't know why I can't. Maybe I have to call Kevin. Kev?
It's okay. We'll chat for a sec. I'll take you off stream. You guys give me a thumbs up when you're good to go.
Okay.
So Gabby, I haven't seen you since like first weeks. How have you and Jeremy been? What have been some new social isolation activities that you guys have been participating in?
Oh, what have we done? I've been really interested lately. I've been sort of delving into the world of voiceover, which has been very interesting and wonderful. Getting some sort of new equipment with that. So we're gonna play around with some of that stuff in the near future and see how that works out. And I've sort of been very interested lately in finding a way to create and cultivate audience and community with people being active audience members while still being in this online format. I've been using the words active audience members versus passive audience members a lot. And I feel like this with people being able to connect this way, that's sort of one step in people being active audience members. And with so much content on there, I'm interested in how to still create that sense of being in the room together.
Well, that's super, that's a neat concept.
Possibly creating some projects with that in mind.
Good for you.
I try.
I'm not sure if Avery's doing well. Avery, do I have a thumbs up?
Okay, here we go.
Are you back, Avery?
I'm trying to be back. It was all good. Okay, ready, guys? Let's try this, okay?
Hey, make sure you're in frame. There you are, handsome.
Okay, here we go.
If I were a rich man.
Oh, my.
This is the joy of the live stream. We keep it very real and very relaxed.
I'm obsessed.
If I were a rich man, all day long I'd biddy bum. If I were a wealthy man, wouldn't have to work hard. If I were a bitty rich, yaddle diddle diddle man, I'd build a big tall house with the rooms by the dozen, right in the middle of the town. A fine tin roof with real wooden floors below. There could be one long staircase just going up, one even longer coming down, and one more leading nowhere just for show. I'd fill my yard with chicks and turkeys and geese and ducks for the town to see and hear, squawking just as noisily as they can. And each yell would land like a trumpet on the ear, as if to say, here lives a wealthy man. Hey, if I were a rich man, all day long I'd biddy bum. If I were a wealthy man, wouldn't have to work hard. If I were a bitty, bitty rich, yaddle, diddle, diddle, diddle man, I'd see my wife, my golden, looking like a rich man's wife with a proper double chin, supervising meals to her heart's delight. I'd see her putting on airs and strutting like a peacock. Boy, what a happy mood she's in, screaming at the servants day and night. The most important men in town will come to fawn on me. They will ask me to advise them, like Solomon the Wise. If you please, Retevia, pardon me, Retevia, posing problems that would cross our rabbi's eye. And it wouldn't make one bit of difference if I answer right or wrong. When you're rich, they think you really know. If I were rich, I'd have the time that I lack to sit in the synagogue and pray. Maybe have a seat by the eastern wall. And I discuss the holy books with the learned men 7 hours every day. That would be the sweetest thing. Oh. If I were a rich man, all day long I'd bitty bitty bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Lord, who made the lion and the lamb, you decreed I should be what I am. Would it spoil some vast eternal plan if I were a wealthy man?
Bravo.
Oh, there we go.
Next song.
Avery, lower your camera a little bit so we can see your handsomeness and that wonderful tie. There you are, sir.
There you go.
That was so good.
Oh, there was so much love for you. Hello, Ellie.
Hi, Ellie. You know, it's still a great song. It's a great song.
Oh,
and
well.
it still resonates. It makes me feel good. It takes me back 42 odd years to when I was 18 and felt the same feeling. So thank you for allowing me the forum to do it.
Our pleasure. You know, I was sharing with you, Avery, before, in addition to being a performer and a theater producer, I'm also an arts educator, and I'm working with the Toronto District School Board right now, doing some online education. So all of course, the education is turned to virtual. So one of the assignments we had recently was asking the students to prepare a COVID playlist. So a playlist of 10 songs that either inspired them or brought them joy, or a reflection on how those songs connected to how they were feeling in this unique situation. And it was so interesting to hear to read these adolescents' reflections of the power of music to connect to nostalgia, or to connect to levity, to connect to an opportunity to be cathartic. So, you know, we are so blessed, even as we're taking this to a virtual platform, that we can have music that in your case, that connects to a time in your life when you were yourself an adolescent and inspired you to pursue your dreams. And here we are benefiting from all that wonderful stuff.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate that.
So let's talk about this incredible organization that you and your brother from another mother have created, the Harold Greene Jewish Theater.
Yeah.
So about 14 or 15 years ago, I was working with David as an arts educator.
Right, yeah.
Was running some after school programming in which he hired me as an educator. So every now and then he would pick me up from the subway in the north, kind of where the area where you grew up.
Right.
And he would talk to me about, he said, "Do you know this guy named Avery?" I said, "Well, actually, I do know Avery. I've worked with him." But I remember being a passenger in the car when the Harold Greene Theatre was just developing and finding its legs. And
right.
So what was your inspiration to create this incredible legacy that the two of you have created together?
It was David who brought it to me. David and I, in fact, David played Mendel, the rabbi's son, in that high school production of Fiddler on the Roof.
We went to high school together.
We went to high school together. And
wow.
Harold Greene's sons, Kevin and Carrie, also went to high school with us in Mackenzie. And Kevin and David were 2 years behind, and Carrie Greene, of course, the sons of Harold Greene, was in my year. And so David and I always kept together, not so much, but birthdays, and once or twice a year we'd get together. And he had just come from a reunion of the Leopoldslins, which was a theater company built in the North Y. They didn't do Jewish all the time, but they did a theater in the Leopoldslin area. So he just came from a reunion. He said, we started talking. We realized that there was no theater in Toronto that dedicated itself to telling the Jewish story. So he said, what do you think about starting one with me? And me, in my naivety, had said, okay. So we did our due diligence. We talked to many artistic directors across the country. And it took us 2 years to get to our first show. And we had originally registered our company as the Toronto Jewish Theatre. And we thought how wonderful it would be for a family, because we saw, the Siegel Center and all the other places, the Leopoldslins, how wonderful it would be for a family. So we talked to many people, and after a little bit, we were introduced to the Greene family once again, and Carrie and Kevin and their mom Miriam, and they came back to us in about 3 weeks' time and said, well, we would like to be that family. And they helped us start the company, and hence it became the Harold Greene Jewish Theatre Company. And the Greene family, from becoming benefactors, have now become family to us, as all our subscribers have. I mean, you've been in our audience, and you performed on our stage, Gabby. It's a unique experience when you play to a community. And I know we have a lot of subscribers watching tonight. I just want to say thank you and to let you know that we so appreciate it, because it's you who keep our theater live, any theater live. So, like any theater, we will be back. We don't know when that time will be, but we will be back, and we count on you, because it's so imperative. I mean, you're sitting at home watching Netflix or Crave or all these things, but live theater, it's so imperative to keep the energy and the buoyancy of our people and our culture and our theater lovers. Yeah. Theater will never die. It may have some lapses.
What I love about the company as well is that that sense of community and family, and has been so welcoming to me over the years. To feel like to feel so welcome every time I come back, and to know all of your subscribers and donors and board members by name, and they've come to my shows and my events and things like that.
They love you.
But what I love as well is that the stories that you choose to tell are so unique, and you push the boundaries. You do shows that not necessarily every single Jewish audience member will necessarily be a huge supporters of. Number one, you challenge your audience. And I just find that so great. The fact that people can disagree sometimes about the shows that they come and see. How do you go about choosing your material?
Well, we like you said, thank you, Gabby. We do like to mix it up. I mean, we do like to do a musical and a comedy, and we do like a cutting edge show or something that we're not. I don't think theaters are here to educate, but we're here to just to
create discourse.
Yeah, exactly. To provoke discussion. To provoke discussion. I mean, we get sent a lot of material, and as much as people write beautiful material, you can't bring back the Holocaust all the time. You know what I mean? You can't do all Holocaust-driven plays. So we mix it up, and we just feel we do wonderful classics along with and musicals. We just shake it up, and we give our audience a great platter to choose from. So
that's beautiful. If I may interrupt briefly, I just wanted to acknowledge 2 donations from $25 from Beth Quesnel. I hope I pronounced that correctly, and $20 from Rena Reif or Rife.
Great.
You've got 20 plus minutes to continue to give us donations if you'd like to support the
please, yeah.
Both Gabby and I were students at different times at McGill University. So my first exposure to Jewish-centric music was through the now Siegel Center, formerly named the Sadie Bronfman Center for the Arts.
Right.
Of course, our dear friend Ari Weinberg is the artistic director of the Winnipeg Theater. Is beyond, forgive my ignorance, beyond the Siegel Center and what programming Ari's doing, and of course what you're doing with Harold Greene. Are there other companies that you're aware of that are specifically devoted to?
There's many in the States, but actually the Siegel Center, they do, out of their large season, like 6 or 7 plays, maybe they do a Yiddish play, but maybe 1 or 2 are Jewish plays. The others are not. So we say that Winnipeg Jewish Theater and the Harold Greene are basically the only 2 theater companies in Canada that devote themselves entirely of every production to the Jewish story.
Oh, that's exciting.
The variances are huge, so there's lots to do. And we know we've had fantastic Canadian artists grace the stage, like Gabby and, Teresa Topa and her brother Jake. And in fact, Jake and his mom, Kathy, wrote a play for us. It was in our In the Beginning. We had an In the Beginning playwriting festival where they entered a play called Therefore Choose Life.
Yes.
And we brought it to our main stage from about 2 years after we first presented it as a read. And I was in it, and I played Jake's father, which I don't know how that happened, but I played Jake's father. And with Sheila McCarthy and Lisa Horner and Amelia Sargeson. And it was a beautiful play about,
what a completely uninspired cast. Come on, what a beautiful group. Wow.
Amazing. It was about a man.
Jake was in it as well.
Who?
And Jake was in it as well.
Jake performed in the show.
Jake played Jake. Yeah, of course. I played Jake's father.
Your son.
I played Jake's father, of course. I don't. Thank you. But it was
you said you played Jake's father. Yeah.
It was about a man who has who's married to this woman, and he gets a letter that says his first wife, who he thought perished in the Holocaust, is alive and has been looking for him. And she wants to see him again. And what does he do?
The problem is he is married.
He's married, he has a child, which is Jake, and his first love, he thought perished in the Holocaust, and here she is again. And the show was about the choice he makes. And he makes the choice to go back to his original wife, which really throws the whole household into upheaval. And your mom said it was actually based on a story that she had heard from a friend of hers. But it was great to have your mom in the room, and Jake and I shared a dressing room, and the family's extraordinary. So that's why they call me the uncle. I just feel I've got
such a family affair. There's if anybody, of course, the people who are subscribers and donors, but if anybody has been in the audience of Harold Greene Jewish Show, there's a hallway sort of leading into the Greenman Theater with pictures of past performances, and it's so wonderful. It feels like such a family affair whenever I walk down those halls, because you see me, you see Jake, you see my mom, in the room. You see it's just so lovely. Jonas, our cousin Jonas Chernick,
your sister-in-law who just gave this comment is completely allowed to be biased. You are part of a family of incredible talents, as are you, Vanessa. But thank you for sharing that.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to briefly, we have another lovely $100 donation from Mr. Leonard Vanek. Thank you, Leonard, for your generosity.
Hey, thank you.
Gabby, you were going to share some music with us, and as a segue into that, you've spoken to how the community that David and Avery have created has been so welcoming. But what has been so? Oh, I just want to share this with you, Avery. You have a programming suggestion from a very respected patron. This is Bobby Sue has requested that you program I Can Get It For You Wholesale.
Just saw the comment. I went, Abe.
Yeah.
All these shows have starring roles for Gabby. I think that's why she's the guest host tonight.
Well, Bobby gave me some very inspired programming suggestions for Toronto concerts. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. Sorry, very quickly. You began your programming at the Al Greene Theater, did you not?
We did. We were nomads for many years, so we did stuff at the Al Greene Theater at the Miles Nadell Jewish Center. We did a couple shows at the Winter Garden.
Right.
We were at the St. Lawrence Center at the Jane Mallett for many years until we moved up north, and now it's called the Meridian Center for the Arts. It was the Toronto Center for the Arts and was the Ford Center before that. So
yeah,
that's where we are now.
Yeah, but we're fortunate. Toronto Musical Concerts is fortunate to call the Al Greene Theater our home.
Great space, yeah, fantastic. Yeah,
Gabby, what has been some of the most cherished parts of your experience collaborating with the Harold Greene Jewish Theater?
Aren't you kind?
Gosh, like
I've been on the receiving end as
hour.
Avery, I've been on the receiving end as a patron, so I know Gabby fairly well. So for Gabby to exude that type of love and passion from the stage, it starts from backstage. So
amazing, yeah.
So
well, yeah, I guess I was a part of a fundraiser. I think that was the first thing that we did together, sort of early on, and then the first main stage show I did with you guys was To Life, which was my first big show in Toronto.
I recall. Yeah,
I'm nominated for a Dora.
I was. It was like the most. It was just that whole experience collaborating on a brand new show that you and Tim French were writing together, and working with Mark Camilleri, who's been like a collaborator of mine for many, many years after that. It was just creating a new piece alongside of you was just so thrilling with, Charlotte Moore and Sean Wright and Patrick as well. And just like, it was just a dream. And then to continue for you to just bring me back to sing in all of these fundraisers and to have put your trust in me to lead that Funny Girl concert was just one of the most generous offers I've ever received. This was over 7 years.
Yeah.
So this was a while ago, and for you to put your trust in me to do something so special that was such a huge event for the company was such a big deal for me, and was a real turning point for me, I think, in my career as well. And so I will always just feel indebted to you for.
Wasn't it amazing to hear that 26-piece orchestra for the first time?
I think there's a part of my jaw that's still embedded in the floor of the theater because I spent the whole show. This is a big jaw, so
it was extraordinary to hear. I mean, to hear a big Broadway orchestra. Hey, Uncle, cheers, Jake.
Hi, Jakey.
Yeah, but to hear that orchestra for the first time, remember just sitting there going, unbelievable.
Like you brought me in the day before to
that's right, to
rehearsal, and then you kind of said like, okay, we're just going to run the overture one more time, and so it was just this like private concert for just hearing that overture, which is one of my favorite overtures in all of music theater. Funny Girl. It was truly like I sort of really tried to stay as present as I could in that moment because I thought that this was just going to be one of the career and personal highlights.
Well, someone's going to do that show for you. I mean, you did it at the Siegel Center in Montreal, but I think nice that Stratford did that one year, and there you were.
And maybe Broadway, just putting it out there.
Putting it out there.
So, Gabby, what do you want to share?
You as well, Avery.
What do you want to share? Yes, with you in the show as well. So you're going to share something with us as a gift, unexpected, as a tribute to the Harold Greene.
Avery sort of thought that I could share something, and so I thought that this is something that I've actually done for a few of the sort of intimate salon nights that the Harold Greene has also had me be a part of, and something that I've loved again about being involved with the Harold Greene Jewish Theater and performing with you guys is that it's been a really lovely way for me to connect to my Judaism as well and to my heritage, and to bring that into the theater world. I sort of feel like I'm like representing some of the time, and I sang and spoke in Yiddish on stage for the first time because of you, and I've sort of been able to sing in Hebrew as well because of you, and so I'm gonna Here, Jared, we're going to move the computer.
All right, here we go.
And I'm going to actually, in the spirit of just sort of, you know, I'm doing something on the side, I'm going to accompany myself on the old piano. Jerry, you okay?
Yeah. Kick the chair.
Just kick the chair.
Okay. Well, we're going to give you the stream, Gabby.
Okay. This is a sort of little mashup of a couple of little Hebrew lullabies. The first one is a nighttime lullaby called Laila Laila, which means the night. Some people may recognize this tune if you've sung it at summer camp ever. And then it's sort of embedded with another very traditional Hebrew song that most people will know, but it's sort of my little arrangement of that. So this is for Avery and Harold. Enjoy. Laila, Laila, haruach noshevet. Laila, Laila, omat samevet. Laila, Laila, kochav mezamer. Numi, kabi etale. Numi, kabi etale. Laila, Laila, Numi, kabi etale. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer le'olam. Achol ve'hayam, rishu she'hamayim, emrah hashamayim, Rishush she'hamayim, emrah hashamayim, tfilat ha'adam. Laila, Laila, haruach noshevet. Laila, Laila, kochav hatzameret. Laila, Laila, kochav mezamer. Numi, Numi, kabi etale. Numi, Numi, kabi etale. Laila, Laila, Numi, Numi, kabi
Gabby, thank you, my dear heart, and I hope your dear husband survived his chair trauma.
Yeah.
We survived. We're all
You know, it's interesting. You know that beautiful offering you just. It had a. There was a melancholic and yet a very reverent. I mean, your voice is extraordinary and your gifts are boundless. But it just, you know, as a nation have been mourning the losses in Halifax this past week, this past Sunday, you know, I just, again, it it just reminds me, again, of the interconnectedness of us as humans, be it from Israel or from Halifax, or, it's just, so thank you for giving me an opportunity to take a breath and just be present in this now moment to all that beautiful, beautiful soul space.
It was beautiful. And I think that's the one thing we have to remember, that we just need to sit and breathe. To stop. I know the world is crazy these days and the anxiety levels are high, but I think if we just took a moment for ourselves, to center in the morning and maybe to choose a little bit of, happiness as a choice, just to choose that and be in the moment. I think it makes things more palatable. I think it makes us a little more enlightened and a little more to give to each other. It's a tough time, just breath.
Absolutely. It's funny, we're habitual beings, right? So when we're forced to move so dramatically outside of our normality, that does create challenge, but I remember my favorite quote, and I don't say this irreverently or unkindly, a generation was asked to go to war, and we've been asked to sit on our couches to stay safe, so it was just a very interesting an awareness, but thank you. I want to shout out some beautiful donors. Thank you, Helen Daniels, for your donation of $18, $100 from David Eisner in honor of his brother from another mother.
Wow.
$72 from Bonnie Shear, and $100 from Risa and Felix Schuster.
Beautiful.
Thank you for your wonderful, wonderful generosity.
Yay.
Oh, another $100 from Dean Cohen, and $100 from Deanie Cohen. And another $100 from Eddie and Harriet Rice, honoring Avery and Gabby's beautiful talent.
Oh, how nice! Deanie was our president for many years, and the thing is, she saw our first show. She was a school teacher for many years at Newtonbrook, a high school drama teacher, and she saw our first show and said, "I would love to be part of your company." And here we are, 13 years later, where she's just that's where we found a lot of people have just become family, from our audience to our performers. It's great.
Oh, sorry, Chris.
No. Please go ahead, Gabby.
I was just going to ask to follow up to this. In addition to performing in shows that you've directed me in shows, and you've directed many shows at the Harold Greene Jewish Theater. I was just gonna ask just how that sort of transition. I know that you're still performing as well.
I love it, Gabby. The thing is, I love doing evenings like this. I love doing our fundraisers. It's funny, when we were doing the last long run I did, or 8 shows a week, was of your mom's play and Jake's play, Therefore Choose Life. And Sheila and I would, at opening night, would go, "Oh my God, you mean we have to do this 8 times a week?" This has been such a gift to work with David and the Greene family and the Harold Greene Jewish Theater Company, because I had 30 good years of performing, of doing 8 shows a week, and I realized
great years.
Yeah, wonderful years of going everywhere and doing, and this is just a really lovely segue into the latter part of my life.
It's true, eh? It's true, Avery.
Great transition, and this fills me up. It just fills my spirit and my soul, and it's great to create and to. David and I sit sometimes and go, we chose this play a couple years ago, and I want to include Matt, our GM. Matt Birnbaum was fantastic. There's the 3 of us who run this company, and I give a little tug out to him and his son Blake. What was my point? What were we talking? I lost my train of thought.
Well, I was just saying the legacy of
Pardon me?
The legacy of the latter part of your life.
Yeah, the latter part of your
career. See, I'm going C now. That's what the latter part of my life is.
No, I was just going to
transition. That's what I want to say, to be able to do this and direct and choose. And David, that's the point. David and I read these plays, and we find the director, we cast, we do. It's designed. It's up on the stage. It's there. From a little German, it's mind-boggling at times, And I taught Gabby. I taught Chris a word before we got into camera, mitzvah. Mitzvah is a blessing, and that's what David and I think, give our giving every day is a blessing to ourselves and to our audience. It's a true mitzvah to work with a great talent, great audience, and
I remember in a rehearsal process of a number of years ago, I asked you about Broadway, about working on Broadway, and it was the first time that I had heard somebody put it this way. But you said it's the same work. It's just a different stage door.
It's a different stage door. I mean that the hype is different. It's as your brother can attest to. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got audiences outside after the show, and it's just a different feel. It's a very different community. But once you walk through that stage door, you still got to do the 8 shows a week, regardless. Yeah. You know, I don't want to call it. Sometimes it is slog. Sometimes it's difficult.
It's hard work
to get it up every night, and and so. But it's a different thing. So
but we feel your, whether you're performing or running the show or directing or whatever, we certainly feel your passion and your care. And I think that's why we love your shows, and we say yes every single time.
Oh my God, this is so good for my ego. I cannot tell you.
No, I mean,
it fills me up. No, thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
You live in your light, and you allow other people to do the same.
Thank you.
So, very briefly, we've come to the conclusion, but we've still got a wonderful musical offering. We are joined. We're taking a break tomorrow. Thank you to all the viewers that were brought to the stream tonight by Avery and David and the Jewish community and the Harold Greene Jewish Theater. If you'd like to continue, we are streaming Monday through Saturday with some of the best in the musical theater industry from across Canada. We're joined on Monday by a wonderful talent, Laura Caswell, who currently resides in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and is part of the Neptune Theatre, the largest Eastern Canada regional theatre there. So we're excited to have her talent with us. If you're following us on social media, please don't hesitate to give us a shout out with a hashtag of Big Girl and Friends. And Avery, as you sing us out, I mean, having performed in New York and begun your career in Canada, I mean, we could talk for another hour. Spend some time in the West End. The fact that you have chosen to connect with your heritage in your hometown and to nurture the Jewish stories is such a gift to the artistic community that we have here. So what are you going to sing us out with, my dear man? Oh, and before you do that, another donation of $180 from Heather and Ron Hoffman. Thank you, Avery, for keeping Jewish theater alive and well, and for keeping us entertained as we remain socially distanced from friends and family. Beautiful. Thank you, Ron and Heather.
These 18 donations, which I love. This is Chai. Yeah, Ave, go.
No, Chai, you're right. Means life. Before, if you allow me 1 second, I just want to say hellos to mine and Kevin's great nieces and nephews, because they're watching and they love to hear it. We love Taylor and Jordan and Sydney and Riley, Ethan and Riley, Asher, Judah, Ocean, Faith, Trinity, Tristan, and Blake. There you go, and here we go.
Actually, Avery.
Oh.
Are you going to tell us what you're going to sing, or are you just going to sing it?
I'm just going to sing it.
Sing it, Louise.
Okay.
Sing out.
Here we go. Mammy mine, your little rolling stone is rolled away, strolled away. Mammy mine, your little rolling stone is home today, there to stay, just to see your smiling face, sigh a welcome sigh, when I'm in your fond embrace. Listen, Mammy mine. Rock-a-bye, your baby with a Dixie melody. When you croon a tune from the heart of Dixie, just hang your cradle, Mammy mine, right on that Mason-Dixon line, and swing it from Virginia to Tennessee with all the love that's in ya. Weep no more, my lady, sing that song again for me. Sing Old Black Joe, just as though you had me on your knee. A million baby kisses I'll deliver if you would only play that Swanee River. Rock, rock-a-bye, your rock-a-bye baby, with a Dixie melody. Rock-a-bye, your baby, with a Dixie melody. When you croon a tune from the heart of the Dixie. Just hang that cradle, mammy mine, right on the Mason-Dixon line, and swing it from Virginia to Tennessee with all the love that's in ya. Weep no more, my lady, sing that song again for me. Sing Old Black Joe, just as though you had me on your knee. On me baby kisses I'll deliver the minute that you play that Swanee River. Rock, rock-a-bye, your rock-a-bye baby with the Dixie melody.
Bravo! Oh, Avery. Oh, that was magical.
I love Jolson.
Oh, Jolson loves you too.
Well, thank you.
Thank you to all of our regular viewers. Thank you to all of the beautiful patrons of the Harold Greene Jewish Theater for joining us tonight online. I'm so grateful that we were able to facilitate even virtual community while we weren't together in the theater and receive all of that beautiful love and spirit. If I may put you on the spot and wish a happy anniversary tomorrow to you and your sound man, your dear friend,
our real anniversary was 2 weeks ago. That was 12 years married, and tomorrow's 19 years together.
Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
And like Gabby said, all is good.
All is good.
All is
well,
good.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I love you both. Thank you. And Jeremy, love you too.
You stay put. You stay put, Avery. We'll have a little a wrap up after this.
Okay.
To our viewers, thank you. Stay safe. Stay home. Stay positive. And please come join us again on Monday at 7 o'clock with our lovely Laura Caswell.
Yeah.
And thank you for all of our generous donations to the Actors Fund of Canada. You can continue to support this wonderful organization, supporting the likes of Gabby, Jeremy, and I, and Avery, and blessings. We're going to roll the credits, and we'll see you again soon.
A time like none we've had in the past. Stuck in your home, how long will this last? You're feeling anxious, stress starts to grow. A different opening for a different show. Weeks ago you rehearsed and rehearsed. It's all shut down now, you couldn't feel worse. You ask yourself, will this ever be right? I know there's an end.